Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Vita. Okay, let's very quickly go further. We have started from the beginning and we'll be going to writing in city life. When man started writing, we'll go up to that level, okay? We've already started doing the modern progress, which he had done. He started collecting food. He started living in proper caves. Okay, he started drawing. All these, if you remember, these are the changes which are coming gradually. The old primitive man is becoming a little modern now, modern human beings. We are trying to see how we are becoming modern now. A lot of changes, food gatherers, how we changed this cave you have done, making tools we've done the different steps. What was this? Can you identify?
Ma'am,
This?
speak to
Very good. This is a spear throw. This I've already revised. Punch plate technique with you. Cave paintings, I had already revised with you yesterday. Hunters and food gatherers, we did this yesterday about this tribe, Hadzas. Okay, you remember about Hadzas?
Yes, ma'am.
Now this. Hunter-gatherer societies from the present to the past. First, look at this word, ethnography. What is ethnography? Study of contemporary ethnic groups. What do we study in this? A particular group of people, the livelihood, technology, gender roles, rituals, political institutions, social customs. What is the study known as?
Ethnography.
Ethnography, because we are studying about the ethnic composition of a society. How is the society? What about the political status? What do they eat? What are the customs? What are the traditions? So we call it as ethnography. Is it okay? What is the word?
Ethnography.
Ethnography. So let's read a little. See, as the knowledge of the present day hunter gatherers increased through studies by anthropologists, we got to know more and more information about this man with the help of anthropologists. So, one question started coming in front of everybody. What was that question? Whether the information about living hunters and gatherers could be used to understand the past societies. Now, we still know a bit about people who do hunting and gathering. So, can we study them and have the same rules applicable for primitive societies? Currently, we have two opposite views again on this issue. Let's see what is the view, which is the first view. The first view says there are some scholars, beta, who directly apply the specific data from the present day hunter gatherer societies to interpret the archaeological remains of the past. They study about some tribals who are still involved in hunting and collecting food. And same data, they apply it for the primitive people. They say कि ऐसा ही वो भी society होता होगा, so let's have the same figures applicable for those societies as well. For example, some archaeologists have suggested that the hominid sites, about how many years ago we are talking about? 2 million years ago. These we are talking about which sites? Those sites which were located along the margins of Lake Turkana could have been dry season camps of early humans. We assume that earlier there were dry season camps. Dry season camps means we're talking about seasons where this river or lake did not have much of water. Because such a practice has been observed among the Hadzas and the Kungsans. It was observed that the Hadzas, they used to live close to a river. Dry seasons, the river used to get less of water, but otherwise the river was always having sufficient amount of water. So water requirement was done. Plus, they were hunting and gathering. Something like Hadzas, they're comparing the present day tribal societies who are involved in hunting and gathering to the Hadzas only. And they've given an example also. Example of which lake? Lake?
Turkana.
Yes, there are some tribes who live near this lake. So they've compared them to Hadzas. On the other side, there are some scholars who do not agree to this. They feel that this ethnographic data cannot be used for understanding the past societies as the two are totally different. They say no, whatever data you have from the present societies cannot be used as such for the past societies. because they argue, these kind of archaeologists, they argue that the conditions were very different. Now, what are they giving in their support? What they are saying that the present day hunters and gatherer societies pursue several other economic activities along with hunting and gathering. Like they are engaged in exchange and trade in minor forest products, working as paid laborers in the fields of neighboring farmers. Moreover, these societies are totally marginalized in all senses. Geographically, politically, socially, the conditions in which they live are very different from those of early humans. So they've given two very clear logics. Those days, we did not have these professions. Now, these tribal societies which are involved in hunting and gathering, they are doing some additional professional activities also. They may be working as a labor in somebody's field. They may be selling the forest products, whatever they gather. Maybe they go and sell it in the cities. All these things were not happening when we talk about the primitive Hadzas. So can we compare the same figures for the primitive societies and the modern hunting gathering societies? What is your opinion? The first one or the second one?
Ma'am, the second one.
Yes, the second one is more logical if you see. We cannot say just because they're hunting and gathering, so the things must be exactly the same. Plus, the conditions in which they were living were entirely different. Like earlier we said, there was no man's land. Nobody. They used to live at one place. Anybody used to go to any part of a land, cultivate, leave it, move forward. So the entire land did not have any property of rights. Right to property, sorry. But now we have beta. Whether even it is a tribal area, everybody knows that yes, this is my field, this is your field. So geographical isolation we have, which was not there earlier, is very clearly demarcated now. So we have two views on this. One view says that yes, if you want to know about the information about the primitive hunters and gatherers, the simple way is one group of archaeologists believe this. But let's assume, let's go and study about one tribal society who is involved in this work. And whatever data, whatever information we get, we can apply it to the primitive societies. And they give an example of, tell me which lake, which tribe did this study, which lake?
It's Turkana.
Yes. But the second group, they do not believe this. And what is the logic they give? Why they don't believe the previous ones?
Ma'am, because they are totally different. Because the present day hunter-gatherer societies are totally different from that of the past. They are more marginalized, and they include they engage in trade and other economic activities.
Very good, very good. Okay, there is one more problem. There is tremendous variation among the living hunter-gatherer societies. There is a lot of variation in the living society. Supposing you are studying about one hunting-gathering tribe in Assam, okay? And I'm studying about a hunting-gathering society somewhere in Uttarakhand. Both of them are hunting-gathering societies, living ones, but we will find that there is a lot of variation among these societies. There are conflicting data on many issues, such as the relative importance of hunting, gathering, group size, or the movement from place to place. How are these societies mainly different? We are both comparing now. You collected your data from Assam, I have collected my data from Bengal. And then we sit and we talk about the comparison. We'll find a lot of variation. Variation in what beta? Although both of them are hunting-gathering societies, you will find variation in what?
Hunting and gathering, group sizes, and movement from one place to another.
Yes, beta. This variation you will find in both of them. See, first is the importance of hunting and gathering. How much is hunting and gathering important for them? They just go as a time pass, or sometimes in a week or twice in a week, and rest, their profession is working as a labor somewhere or selling products from the forest. Or are they going for hunting and gathering daily? That is their main profession. So this is the first point, that difference that we have. Second is the group sizes. How big is the tribe? 100 people, 50 people. It could be different with different tribes as well. And the last is, how much do they move from one place to another? Do they remain confined to that particular forest area, or they're moving from one place to another place? See now, there is a little consensus regarding the division of labor in food procurement. Food procurement, how do they get their food? Although today, generally, women gather and men hunt. What is the present tradition? Who gathers and who hunts in the present tribes?
Women gather and men hunt.
Yes, but there are societies where both men and women hunt and gather, and both of them make tools. See another variation. Most of the present societies, we've seen that men go for hunting and women they go for gathering wild berries and whatever wild fruits they get and wood from the forest. But we also have data and evidence to prove that there are societies where both men and women both are involved in making tools and in hunting. In any case, the important role of women in contribution to the food supply in such societies cannot be denied. Whether it is hunting or it is food collection, we cannot say that the role is not significant. It is perhaps this factor that ensures a relatively equal role for both men and women in present day hunter gatherer societies, although there are variations. This may be the case today. It is difficult to make any such inference for the past. So, whatever is the present case, can we assume that the same thing must be there in the past as well?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now tell me about 2-3 differences that we observe or we reach conclusions when we compare the data of 2 or 3 different living tribal societies. Chalo, let's start.
Number one, there might be a difference of who does what in the process of getting food for the tribes to eat. In some tribes, there may be that women gather while men hunt, while in others, it could be that both men and women hunt, gather, and make tools.
Very good. Very good. Continue.
The group size can be different for many tribes. And we are only talking about present day tribes, right?
No, let's compare the present and the past now. Differences.
Okay.
If we try and put the present data to past, then what problems are there?
The group size of past and present can be a problem or a really big conflict, as there are many different tribes with many different group sizes. One tribe can have 50 while other can have 100, or vice versa. We cannot be sure about that. And then their methods of hunting and gathering can be different from tribe to tribe. And methods of hunting and gathering, the previous methods of hunting and gathering can be different from the ones right now.
How many views do we have? If we say, okay, let's directly apply the data collected from the past to the present. How many groups of archaeologists?
2.
Tell me about the first one, the ones which say that yes, we can directly apply this information. What example they gave?
Ma'am, they gave the example that the hominid sites that dated to 2 million years ago along the margins of the Lake Turkana could have been a dry season camps, can have dry season camps of early humans, as this practice has been observed in the present day tribes of Hadzas and Kungsan.
Okay, we did about a study. What was that science or branch called? Where we study about the ethnic part of a society.
Ethnography.
Yes, Peter, what is it called?
Ethnography.
Yes, try and define it in your own words. Try it.
Ethnography is a study of ethnic groups, what their language was, what their livelihood, their roles, gender, rituals, political institutions, customs, religion, etc.
Okay, so good. Till here, I'm sure you've understood both the points that are different. Now I'll give you a time. Read this. Yes, Piche, want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in the question you asked about the differences in the present and the past tribes, can we also write that in the past, the places were not marginalized. Thus, the movement of tribes from one place to another was over a wider area. But now, since the places are marginalized, it's only within the marginalized areas that the hunters and gatherers can move.
Yes, Peter, why not? Perfect. That is one more point. We can add up to this, though it is not given just with this part as well. but no doubt. I'll give you 2 minutes. Read about epilogue. What is an epilogue? Read quickly,
Okay,
then
ma'am.
we'll discuss.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, pastoralism is the herding of sheep and goats.
Beta, you just read, I'll explain it to you. Pastoralism, yes, you're going to.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please scroll down?
Yeah, Beta, just give me a second. Very important word when we talk about history.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Beta, have you read?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, only on the one paragraph is left.
Take another 2 minutes.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, in the paragraph which starts from one such area where farming, ma'am, how will we pronounce the third line, the word in the third line, Zagros? Ma'am, it's the name of a mountain range. I can't pronounce it. Can you please tell?
Once you finish, you let me know.
Okay, ma'am.
Your voice is coming very low, Snehal. What happened?
Ma'am, I don't know.
Wait, let me see.
Is it okay now, ma'am?
Yes, beta.
Is it okay now, ma'am?
Now it is okay. I had to really put the phone on my ears to hear what you were saying. Fine, fine. Read. And now first you tell me and then I'll
I'm
speak.
fine.
Let's do vice versa. Huh? I do and explain now you. I'll go back. Yes. Tell me about epilogues. Or you need more time. If you need a minute or so, let me know.
Okay, ma'am, I've read and understood as much as I
Okay,
could.
okay. Okay, then we'll start. Chalo, start.
Okay. Ma'am, do I have to start the explanation and then you can
Yes,
correct?
this time we'll do like this. You will first explain and I'll listen.
Okay, ma'am.
Let's the role. Yes.
Ma'am, we learned that for many years, old humans were living by hunting wild animals and gathering wild plants. But then, between 1,000, 10,000 and 4,500 years ago, people started domesticating certain plants and animals. This led to the development of farming and pastoralism. Um, this shift this development was a major turning point in the history of the humans. Um, we also learned that the last ice age came about 13,000 years ago, and due to that ice age, there were better and warmer conditions, which resulted in the growth of grasses such as wild barley and wheat. Um, so Uh, so for open forests and grasslands expanded, which in turn helped to increase the population of animal species such as. Ma'am, can you please scroll down? I can't
Yes,
remember
but
like that.
obviously you cannot remember the name of the animal species if you're reading them for the first time. But the heading is yes. Continue.
Such as wild sheep, goat, cattle, pig, and donkey increased. Um,
Very good, very good.
yes. Many human hunting and gathering societies started to live in these areas, and due to many areas being preferred over others, the population in those areas increased, which in turn forced people to start domesticating certain animals like sheep, goat, cattle, donkey, and pig, and and start agriculture of certain plants like wheat, barley, rice, and millets. The climate change, population pressure, and a greater reliance on knowledge of few plants also helped develop the olden society by a lot.
Very good. So though it's a lengthy one, but I don't think it is anything difficult as such.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You want me to do something or this part is clear for us?
Ma'am,
This
it's
is a
clear.
simple reading. Chalo, let's finish these two paragraphs also. Just read it quickly. Let me explain.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's read these two also and finish it off. I'll explain it to you.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, done.
Okay, let's see what it is. Let's do this the same way. First you, then me. Yes, Snehal, first you try.
Yes, ma'am. The first area where farming and pastoralism started around 10,000 years ago was the Fertile Crescent, extending from the Mediterranean coast to the, ma'am, how will we pronounce the mountain range? Zagros.
Yes, Beta, this only these things you'll find a little typical. Otherwise, you can easily learn. Only the name of the places, name of the lakes, they are a little difficult for you. Good, good.
Yes.
Continue, Bache.
To the Zagros Mountains in Iran. With the introduction of agriculture, many people started living in one area for a longer period of time so that their crops could ripen and they could harvest and get food. Um, the permanent houses started building of mud bricks and even stone. Some of the earliest villages these houses were made in a cluster, and these cluster of houses were the first villages ever known to archaeologists.
Very good. See, continue. There's something left you would like to complete. Very good. Speak first.
The farming and pastoralism also led to the introduction of many different things, such as making of pots to store grains and tools, and many different kinds of tools were also made, such as plows for agriculture. And people started becoming familiar with many metals, such as copper and tin. And the wheel was also used for making pottery and for transportation. And that's it.
So I don't think it is that complicating, isn't it, Bache? Just give 1 minute break to yourself and think what all you have spoken.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, done.
So basically, what did you observe? That people used to move from one place to another place with their animals, and gradually now they have started living which kind of a life? Settled life. Started making small houses, started living in groups. So these living in groups were probably the first what, Beta?
Villages.
Yes, Beta. They were the first villages. Permanent houses they started making. What was the main material which was used in making these houses?
Mud bricks, and even some stones.
Okay, what do you mean by mud bricks?
Mud bricks that are made from wet mud and then are put into fire so that they could harden up.
Yes. We just talked about the Zagros Mountains. Which country?
Iran.
Yes, they are in Iran only. So now you see, the primitive man is moving towards becoming which kind of a man? Modern man. Isn't it? He's becoming which kind of a man now?
Modern.
Modern man. He started living a settled life gradually. Farming and pastoralism led to the introduction of many other changes. For example, they started making pots. What they were using the pots for?
Ma'am, for storing grains and some tools.
So the smaller pots were used for cooking food. And the larger ones, the bigger containers which they made, earthen ones, they were used for storing grains. Now, new kind of stone tools came into use. Other new tools like plows, they were used where now? Agriculture. Now, there are two more metals which man became acquainted with. Which two metals they started using, beta?
Copper and tin.
Copper and tin. And most important, they started using the wheel. Wheel was used both for pot making and for transportation. Very important change in the life of a man was the discovery of the wheel. So wheel was basically used for two things. What are they?
Transportation and pot making.
Yes. About 5,000 years ago, larger concentrations of people began to live together, and now we had the cities. Earlier, we had few houses, so we called it as villages. More number of people started staying together. This is what we call as cities. Now, what is the difference between cities and other settlements? Okay, we just talked about earlier settlements and we talked about cities. Now, we need to understand and find out what is the difference between cities and the other settlements that we had over there. Let's read. Now, something quite simple and common is there. Timeline is there. This we do not read. See this. This is a Rift Valley. What is this? Rift Valley. Can you tell me the differences? Can you think about differences between cities and other settlements?
Ma'am, cities are a place where a group of people, many people live together, and that include villages, pastoral people, and like tribes.
Yes. Fine. So we've done the first chapter, but before that we have these tables. We do need not learn this, but just see it once. Don't miss out anything. This is timeline 1. That is first 1 million years ago. We are going to go back to. Just see it once. You'll get to know about Homo habilis, Homo erectus. When did we have? Don't learn these tables. No need to learn these dates and tables. But we should not miss out on anything. So just see it once. After these two tables, we'll complete the chapter today.
Okay, ma'am.
There are some questions which I'll give you tomorrow. You can plan. I'll share the questions with you. I'll do it in the next period only. No issues.
Okay, ma'am.
I'll give you the questions. Abhi, you just see the table.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Peter.
Ma'am, in 2.5 to 2 million years ago, it is written cooling and drying of Africa. Ma'am, what does that mean?
Cooling and drying of Africa basically means that the rainfall that we had, the amount of rainfall which we had in Africa went down. So that is basically, and the temperature also went down. Temperature and rainfall both. So if the rainfall is going down, temperature is also going down. So there was decrease in the forest or the woodlands. Big trees were not there. And we had what in place? We had grasses now. Because rain also was less and the temperature also went low. So big trees could not grow comfortably. So in place of woodlands means we talk about dense forest. We had decrease in the forest, but increase in the grasslands.
Okay, ma'am.
That's why I say just read it once. Don't need to learn, bache. After you finish this table, there's one more. We'll see to that.
I'm done with the table.
Okay. So basically, they're telling you about a timeline. We are assuming that this time to this time, this must have happened. Then this time to this time, this is what is happening. We are also trying and guessing out the climatic changes. And on the basis of climatic changes, we are assuming the change in vegetation. This just now you asked about the African forest. There's one more table, beta, I would like to show you. Then I'll discuss the questions. Timeline 2. This is something latest.
Ma'am, read and understood.
Yes, understood each part? It's
Yes,
evidence of burials. What does this mean, Biche? Evidence of burials?
ma'am, the burial of dead bodies in the ground.
Yes, we have some evidence that the dead bodies were buried. They were not burned or... Then next, which variety of Homo became extinct?
Erectus.
Good. Then we have evidence of development of voice box. Then archaic Homo sapiens skull. This we had seen. Emergence of modern humans. Neanderthals, you've done Hertz. Hertz, you remember those caves? We had studied where we had those Hertz. And then Neanderthals also became extinct. Then earliest evidence of figurines made of fired clay. What are these figurines?
Ma'am, statues, small statues.
Yes, yes. And invention of sewing needles. Sewing needles earlier, they were made of what material? Any idea? Were they made of metals? Earliest ones.
Ma'am, maybe from clay, as clay was used for many things.
Beta, earlier they used to make from bones. Sewing needles, because they needed something stiff, hard. So they used to make from bones. Bones were made as sewing needles. They used to make a hole in the bone and put some string or some thick, dry leaf or branch twig and try to sew. So earlier they were made of bones, and then of course we had the discovery of metals. We just talked about two metals which were very commonly used later by man. Which ones?
Copper and tin.
Very good. Which two uses were pots put to? Pots they started making, pottery was there, so they were using pots for what?
Ma'am, storing grains and cooking food.
Storing grains and cooking food. And then they started shifting. Earlier, they were moving from one place to another place, and then they gradually settled down. A few houses at a place. We assume that this was the earliest village. Then the number of houses increased, the number of people living in groups also increased. So this must have probably led to the development of what?
Cities.
Larger number of houses. Yes, cities. And your second chapter is going to deal entirely with this living in cities now. Man has become modern now. Prove your statement by three things that you have read in the chapter. That when we started the chapter, our man was a very primitive man. And when we finish the chapter, our man has become a little modern. Give me three reasons. Prove this statement.
Ma'am, he started using metals such as copper and tin. He started living in